SOFI update here on the 5th. If you missed the last video, I talked about how fourth wave is likely finished because we crossed the parallel line. I said there's a slight chance it goes lower, but I would say it's more than likely this is the bottom right here at 1377. And what happened on Friday is we got a nice move higher. So likely finish, we crossed the parallel line. It's unlikely that we come down here farther. So if that's the case, then we can start looking ahead. I'm expecting a little bit of upside in the market early in the week and then a pullback. So I think that we're likely in a wave one. The first spot to look at is this gap at 1536. I would be looking for the wave one to probably end somewhere in there and then get a pullback here. Pullback could go all the way down here to, could come back down here to like the low 14 to 1450. So if that happens, don't freak out and think we're going to go down and make new lows. If it does make new lows, then we have to start all over with, because that would mean that this is not a first wave. So based on everything, this is probably a first wave. I would say 90% chance it's a first wave. So I'd be looking in here, resistance, first wave, second wave, and then of course third, fourth, and fifth up here higher. The minimum target is going to be 19 bucks, around 19 bucks, 19.10, whatever, somewhere around in that area. And the target that I still want to keep though is up here at 22 bucks. The reason I want to keep that is that's the 1.61 fib of the prior move higher right here in July of 2023. So I think that we should be hitting 19 to 22 bucks. So what time frame should we be hitting that? I'd be looking for this to hit likely the $22 mark. I would say the earliest is probably January 28th. So that's right around earnings. So if that happens, it's going to look like that, basically. And that's where you're going to want to sell. I know that earnings are supposed to be good, but if it goes up to this area around earnings, you're going to want to sell. The second possibility, somewhere in the midpoint as well, could happen. At the latest, if it hits the midpoint, the latest would be here around like February 21st. That would likely mean that earnings is a catalyst for the move higher. Then there's another possibility. We only hit 19 bucks. We're obviously not going to hit it down here. The midpoint right here for 19 bucks would also be January 28th. So January 28th is a very popular spot for either 19 bucks or 22 bucks, depending on how far this wants to go. And at the latest, February 21st. But if we hit 19 bucks, it's going to happen by January 28th. If we hit 22 bucks, it's either January 28th or sometime around mid-February, February 21st. So basically, we're either going to get one of three moves. Get that. We could get that, or we can get something like that. That's what I'm looking for going forward. And what is the invalidation on this? I'll just do the invalidation for this move. Again, it's if we break the low. If you break the low here, it doesn't necessarily mean the fourth wave is done. It just means that we have to restart it. So if it comes down here somehow, really unlikely, I think. But if it does come down here to like say 13 bucks, it can still be a wave 4. It's not like deep enough to invalidate yet. It would change my projections, obviously, because it would make the timing way differently. So let's just hope that the bottom holds here at 1377, and we can make a 5-wave move up here to a minimum of 19 bucks. And again, I'm leaning towards selling right here. I think that selling is probably the best option going forward. If we hit, let's say we hit 22 bucks. If you're long, you can do cover calls, all that stuff too. Because I think we're probably going to pull back to at least 16 bucks from there. I think you're going to get a fourth wave. If you get a fourth wave, you're looking at, let's say we get a 22 bucks, you're probably looking at the 0.23 fib. That's around 16 bucks. So if it's an ABC move, that's not what we want to see, because that would just mean that this whole thing is an A wave. And you'd be looking for a B wave pullback and then a C wave higher after that. So this is really like the final move up for a while, in my opinion. One more 5-wave move up, and then that's likely where there's going to be a big, longer pullback, like months-long pullback, probably going into at least like April, May, June, July, that area. So that's it for this video. I'll keep you updated during the week, but I think that we likely have started the final move up to complete this wave 3 or this wave C.